Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin and today we are going to be diving in to see your love-related advice and guidance at this time, no matter what type of relationship you are in and no matter what kind of sexuality you are. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so welcome back everyone. Today we're doing another love-related messages. I've not really done many love readings so far on my channel, and I'm really excited to dive into them here with you guys today because who doesn't love love-related messages? Although they can be complicated depending on what type of relationship you are in. So we're going to really dive into the nitty-gritty and see what you need to hear at this time. Also, I want to say welcome to anyone who is new and welcome to this channel. I do monthly readings at the beginning of each month, and every single Monday I also put out either a timeless reading or a reading on your sort of weekly forecast and what energy is coming in for you on a 2-week basis. So if you are interested in any of the types of readings that I do already or want to just kind of ponder around on the channel, feel free to, and also feel free to subscribe if you are interested. But we're going to go ahead and start looking at these piles. Alright, so I went for a fun theme of all of these different items that feel very kind of vintagey, old world. I don't know, I really liked the vintage feel of these items. So here with pile number 1, we have here a dried carnation. And then alongside it, I actually have the heart just propping it up. And then alongside it, we have this Shungite piece, which I always think looks like a heart in and of itself. So that is pile number 1. Then here for pile number 2, we have here at the center a tin that has these two really like lovebird kind of energy of like an old Valentine feel. And it's just like an old little tin. And alongside that, we also have this heart and this small little butterfly, this little golden butterfly. So that is pile number 2. And then lastly here for pile number 3, we have this heart key. It looks like this really beautiful heart. And then underneath it, you also have this really cool tiger's eye heart as well, which I absolutely love. It just shines so beautifully. So that is pile number 3. So feel free to take your time and look through these piles as you need to, but we're going to go ahead and take a deep breath so you can make a better decision on which pile is really calling out to you, especially since the energies are so varied. But let's go ahead and take that deep cleansing breath together here now. And as always, there is no right or wrong way to choose your pile. You can choose all 3 piles, 2 piles, 1 pile. You can choose a pile, change your mind, flip-flop as you need to. There is no right or wrong way to choose these piles. So feel free to just let your intuition flow. And if you choose a pile and you're like not feeling it, feel free to look at the other 2 piles and see what resonates best for you, especially since these are collective readings. But yeah, so if you already know which pile is for you, feel free to go down in the description below or use the chapter marks within the video to find your specific timestamp for each of the piles for like quick, easy access. And then also, if you're interested, feel free to also look down in the description where you can find out how to get private readings from me, where I actually do old world kind of snail mail readings, which are super fun. If you're interested in what those look like, feel free to go to my Instagram where I show off some of those within my highlights. But I also have the decks and supplies down below that I use and other really interesting, fun links. So feel free to check out the description. But with all that said, let's go ahead and look at pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this dried flower as well as the Shungite piece here that I personally think looks like a heart, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set all of these down here for you so you can see them during your reading here today, as we are going to be using the charms again, as well as the watercolor affirmations. We're also going to be using the Celtic Lenormand deck, the Spellcasting Oracle, and also the Line Strider Tarot. And we're also going to look into the letter tile messages to see any names, dates, places, and all that jazz. So we've got a lot that we're going to be looking into in whatever kind of relationship it is for you, whether that's very romantic, platonic, something more complicated, or in between. Wherever you are in your love life right now, we're going to be kind of looking into those messages. So let's go ahead and get started here. Group 1. So we're looking for any love advice right now for the individuals who chose group 1. So the collective message for group 1. Okay. So these were the 2 different cards that spoke to me in that pile. So we have here the Justice card. And then we also had the Emperor sort of creeping out through that pile. So we're also going to take him. And we'll see what else comes up here for you, group 1. Feel free to send your energy through time and space through the screen to see what comes in for you guys specifically. So group 1, we're looking for love messages in their relationships, whether they're single, complicated, in between, married, wherever you're at, wherever will find you, the messages will find you where you're at. So that is what we're looking for here. So you also had here the 4 of Pentacles. So there are your 3 tarot card messages. That one sort of came out in a fumble. So it just kind of adds to the meaning of the card. But we're going to go ahead and look at your next message here with the spell casting oracle and see what comes in for you guys. So group 1, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance for group 1 in relation to their relationships. Okay, so you have strength. Ooh. Okay, I absolutely love this card. I just think it's really beautiful. But there is the strength card, so you can take it all in, see what comes up for you guys, because I always want to remind you guys that even though I'm doing these readings for you guys, there's usually hidden messages that are going to be specific to you, especially in a collective reading. So feel free to read those out yourself, use it as an intuitive practice. But let's see your next message here with the Celtic Lenormand cards. So group 1, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance, and advice mostly for group 1 here in terms of love. There we are. Of course, you got the heart. So there's a little shell down here that completes together. They complete this little heart. And within these Celtic Lenormand cards, they also do have numbers that are associated with them. So for this one, you have the number 24, as well as the Jack of Hearts, or the the Knight of Hearts, or Knight of Cups. So ooh, okay. So we're going to get your final message real quick from the cards, but stay tuned later for the charm and letter tile casting, because we'll get a lot of the nitty-gritty details, as this is more of the overall picture here. So group 1, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 1. Oof. Okay, let's see here. So these 2 fell upside down, but we will take this one here, and it says head in the clouds, and it's almost like your brain is in these clouds in and of themselves, that's what's making up the clouds. So yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and start diving into these love messages for you guys here, group 1. So first of all, we cannot talk about this reading and not talk about the fact that you already got the heart card, which is all about compassion, passion, love, drive, desire, swelling of emotions. This is if you're going to get the love card that's going to tell you that love is present in your life, this is it. This is this love is there, and there's a lot of pure love. There's this unity that's happening within this love. So there is, if you're currently in a relationship where it's maybe complicated, or you're not entirely sure if they have there's a commitment feeling towards it or not, there definitely is a lean more towards a more committed relationship there, and feeling very unified. You guys are a very good unit. You work really good together in that way. Your emotions are very on point together. That being said, though, there is a bit of a hold back, right? There feels because the 4 of Pentacles is all about holding yourself back. It's about clutching on to the past, or clutching on to things that worked for you in the past. And you may not be able to really look beyond that. You're really kind of holding yourself back because there is sort of that strength card, right? Like you almost have to overcome something. That's what strength usually comes out for, isn't just because you are a strong person, but you may need strength in order to kind of get over something. So what I am seeing here is that you may be currently, like, this obviously can resonate differently depending on the type of relationship you're in, but I really do feel like you guys are already have someone in mind, or there's something already happening here. Like, this isn't like a new relationship you're just jumping into. But because you have the Justice card and the Four of Pentacles here, it is making me think, especially with the Justice card, that, like I said, you are a very good unit with this person. But when combined with the Four of Pentacles, this is giving me more like something's out of balance, something's out of whack, in terms of like your own personal emotions, your own personal journey within either yourself, your own self-healing, and that's sort of putting on the brakes for how much love you can give towards someone, because like that's that same saying of where, you know, you can only love yourself as much as you can only love another as much as you love yourself. And I feel like there's something missing here, either because maybe there's a past relationship that still needs like tied up, or some sort of compromise or closure that is needed at this time, because there's like that holding on to just too much that's happening here. But I do see that wherever you are heading, if you're heading towards a relationship, it's going to be very committed. It feels very committed. It feels very like real and very grounded too, because the beach is like where you go to ground those emotions. And the shell is made from the beach. It's made from the sand. It's made from two souls kind of intertwining. So like I said, it feels very unified, but there's something that is personal to you that's kind of in your head, like you're kind of leaving it there. You're not really looking at it all the time, but it's at the back of your mind, and it's not allowing you in like your subconscious level to move forward in the ways that you personally want to, especially in terms of like maybe fear of commitment. The other thing you do have here too, though, is the Emperor, which means that either you or your partner or someone that you are heading towards in a relationship definitely has this Emperor energy, or your relationship really has a good tie to the Emperor energy, the archetype of being very strong with that Strength card, right? But alongside that, they also are very well put together, right? They have like good clean, like when they're talking to someone, they're very clear, they're very concise, they put things right to what they need to be. There's no, you know, fishing around, there's no like passive aggressive nature to your communication with this person. You guys are very direct in your communication, and the way that you speak is very like of equals, which is what I was thinking too, that it feels very unified. It feels very like on the same playing field. Like you guys, there's not like some weird power dynamic. So I feel like maybe in the past you possibly had a weird power dynamic going on in a relationship, and that's kind of tying over to your current relationship, or your current way in which you view relationships that you may go into, and that's what's maybe holding you back from going towards a relationship, or maybe like committing deeper into the relationship you are in currently, because that Emperor energy really craves something that is stable, something that's very committed, something that is very strong and true, right? So that's the great thing too, is the Emperor, you always tend to see them being very like cold. But the other thing though is they can also be super passionate, because they are protective. They want to protect those that are around them. They're very good at protecting it. And like I said, you're protecting yourself, I feel like, from what is coming towards you in love. And when you open yourself up, when you open that shell, when you crack that open, that's where all the good stuff is going to come in. That's where all of that new unity, that new excitement for a more passionate, well-leveled relationship is going to come in. But it does take a bit of strength to find that healing or that closure with your past relationships with others, or within your own personal views on how relationships work. Maybe because of the way that you view your parents' relationships, or something that came from the past that you're just sort of bringing and clinging on to. It's like time to kind of wash it clean, or try to find like closure within that mind frame and that space that you have there in your mind space. But with all of that said, group 1, I'm going to go ahead and move on to your letter charms and see what's happening there. You guys had like an interesting one because, like I said, there's so much commitment and good stuff coming in, but it has a lot to do with your personal mindset versus how the relationship is going or is heading towards as a whole. So let's go ahead and see any numbers, letters, places, people's names, and see what comes up here for you. So feel free to send your energy through for love, relationship messages for group 1. Group 1. What do we need to know for group 1? Okay. Ooh, interesting. It says like mine, right? That's the first thing that you see here, like mine. So there might be a bit of a possessive nature here or just that jealousy. So, and then also I see like mini, which makes me think of like a smaller relationship or something that's more, not like escalating, but I do see mine, like, so that possessive nature, so that might be something you should look out for. You also have R and N, which also says run, is the other thing that I'm seeing here. So mine and like run, so that's making me think again, like they're trying to chase something away, or you're, like I said, you did have, I guess I didn't really pick up on that, but you do have that 4 of Pentacles, like you're holding on to something. So maybe right now you're trying to hold on to this relationship so tightly too, that you have to make sure that they can breathe, that they can, there is that equality that was happening there, but that trust has to be built as well, making sure that you you don't feel like they're just going to run away at the first like person that they see. So make sure that if this is you, feeling quite possessive, that you are allowing your other person to still explore life. There can be boundaries there. These things can be set really easily too by just having really clear communication between you two. Those communication lines, like I said, feel pretty solid. So making sure that you guys talk about these things can help ease your mind in that way. The other things that we can create here though is we do have the number 9. So the number 9 can be kind of a spiritual number for me personally. I feel like it is like a kind of like fantastical number with that head in a clouds. It kind of makes me think that like you have this fantasy possibly built up as well, of what a perfect relationship is, and you're not allowing yourself to, for some of you, this doesn't feel like all of you, but for some of you it may be that you just need to evaluate where you're kind of romanticizing your relationship. Not that romanticizing a relationship isn't always like a bad thing. Sometimes it can cause that really fun chemistry, can create these really cool relationship, like fun, imaginative stuff that can be really good to bring in that playful energy to a relationship, especially with that Emperor. But it also is important to ground back down, like I said, ground back down to that beach energy, grounding back down with your partner, being very level-headed with them and having like mature conversations about your relationship when things are maybe going like not towards that fantasy that you had possibly expected. I also see rune showing up, which, I mean, personally, I use runes within my own divination practice, but beyond the divination side of it, like runes are very old, like letters and symbols that have been used for a very long time and are still constantly used today for divination, but have been used as an alphabet. So again, it's like using a more mature language, right? Using something that's older, more mature. So definitely make sure that if lately you've been trying to maybe keep things really light, like everything's really perfect, there's this fantasy bubble, you might have to poke and pop that bubble a little bit to make sure that you guys are still on the same plane, and keeping that equal nature in, and that clear communication still really strong, and having that strength come in. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to your charms and see what comes in for you. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below, as always, what you guys create with each of these different letters, or how everything is sort of resonating for you on a very personal level, especially since these are very attuned to many people, a larger collective audience. It's really important for you to also pick out those pieces that are very specific and personal to you. So let's go ahead and move on to your charms. Group 1. So group 1, we're looking for an information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in love. for group 1 here. Group 1. Interesting. You had so many small, like, intricate charms. So we'll read into those. You do have the 1. Okay. All right, so you had a few that fell off the board, so I'm going to pick those up. But you do have more letters to add to here, so you have both the letters G and R showing up. So those you can add to your list if you have been writing them down or shuffling them around and seeing what comes up there. But I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in so you can see everything we have here on the board. But here in your central focus, you do have a few charms showing up here. So the first charms that showed up here that are really sticking out to me are both the jump in charm, because I feel like for some reason this makes me think of a frog, like it looks like a little frog that's hopping about. So it makes me feel like you're jumping into something. And then on top of that, you have the hummingbird, which is fast communication as well as really fast messages. So I feel like you're jumping into a relationship really fast, or the relationship you're currently in, you did jump into it really fast, and because of that, you may have that stable communication that you are trying to keep or trying to grow right now is very important, because if you have your communication going too fast, things can get lost in communication, lost in translation. So be sure that that line of communication is very clear, very concise, very well thought out, because I think that's going to be really important to strengthening your relationship. We also have here the number 1, which 1 does talk about, again, something happening personally for you. So within your relationship too, it may be that you're jumping in really fast because your past relationships were possibly, they rotted out, right? So you have the rotten apple charm. So I feel like I said, you were holding on to something, for some of you, to the past, and there's closure still that needs to happen there, right? This rotten apple is still there. That person is still kind of like lingering, and it doesn't matter how fast you get into a relationship, it's still going to linger. So especially if this relationship came on really fast and you didn't have time to find closure, even just with yourself, with your past relationships or relationship just prior, especially with someone maybe with an R or a G here, it's really important to find that inner peace either with yourself or with this person. I also see that coming in here through the eraser charm, which is about erasing, finding a clean slate with someone. So like I said, making sure that you aren't keeping those same lines of communication, making sure that you're really focusing on the relationship you are currently in and not bringing in the old cycles and habits that you had in your previous relationship that wasn't working. That way you can create a stronger bond and build a stronger foundation with the one you are currently in. You do sort of have that possessive charm happening here with the buzzing bee, because this one I always feel like it's like the bossy bee, the buzzing bee in your ear. It's not like the nice one. It's not like, I have 2 different bee charms. This is the one that's like buzzing and annoying in your ear. So making sure that you aren't feeling very possessive of someone else, or the other person in your relationship isn't, kind of suffocating you in that way. So making sure to give them space, making sure to give yourself space so you both can grow as individuals as well as a partnered unit. Your partner may be or the person that you are with may be a Leo here, because you do have the Leo charm, but it did fall on the oracle side of courageous, which gives me more of that strength card feeling of just feeling like you need more strength in order to create a clean slate for this relationship you are currently in. Other things that may be important to your relationship, though, to continue to strengthen it and kind of keep that excitement alive and everything, is you do have the music charm showing up here. So this means to me that something you guys could be trying out is dancing together, couples dancing. I just feel like a lot of dancey energy, a lot of listening to music, concerts, those kinds of things for date nights could be really impactful for you and to bring you guys closer. I also do see the silver star with the little kind of hole here, which just shows me that nothing is perfect in the world, right? You can get the silver star, you may not have got the gold star, but no relationship is perfect. So this is again more of that energy telling you that Your relationship doesn't have to be perfect in order to work. It just has to have clear communication. You can have that playful energy that music has going on for you. And then also making sure to allow them to have their own time to be an individual as well as a unit. And then the last kind of charms that you have here are the holly charms. So this one I always think of like traditions or traditional things. So you may be coming into a more traditional relationship at this time, or when you guys got together, it was around the holidays, like the more winter holidays for you, depending on the hemisphere. So that may be just a personal signifier there for you and your relationship. And then you also have the number 12 coming up here alongside that 9. But with all of that said, group 1, I'm going to go ahead and leave you there. So I hope you enjoyed this reading here today. Like I said, as a quick recap here, you do have this Emperor. So this Emperor is very stable. They're on your side. They're not trying to leave you. They're very like protective and they want to be near you. But you just have to make sure to give them trusting in them. And a lot of that trust may have been severed by past relationships, and it's finding that balance back in this new relationship that you are in and finding clear communication, as well as staying true to like that passion that you have with this person already, because there is a lot of passion, there is a lot of love and excitement for the relationship with that. I just realized this actually says generous, not courageous. I guess that was an intuition moment, but it does say generous as well here. But then that musical element is also coming in here quite strongly. So I hope you enjoyed this reading here with me today. And if you did, feel free to give this video a like. It really does help this channel continue to grow, and I really do appreciate it. Also, I'm always curious if you guys saw different things that I didn't see, or specific things that are personal to you that you feel like sharing. So feel free to let me know in the comments down below how this resonated with you specifically if you are interested. I'm always curious and read all of the comments. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined in down there in the conversation. And lastly, if you are new to this channel and this is one of your very first videos here with me, welcome. I hope you are doing well, and it's lovely to have you here. I do timeless readings, weekly readings, and weekly forecast readings, as well as monthly readings that you can check out on my channel if you're interested, or feel free to subscribe to join in on the further videos that I do. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this little romantic tin as well as this little heart, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set these both down here for you so you can see them during your reading here today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations. We're also going to be using the Celtic Lenormand deck, the Spellcasting Oracle, and the Line Strider Tarot. And we're also going to be looking into letter tile messages for names, dates, places, all that jazz, oracle messages with these tiles. So we have a lot that we're going to be doing, 2 different castings and tarot readings, as well as the oracle cards. So we have a lot we're going to dive into for your relationships. These could be platonic, depending on what kind of like sexuality you are, wherever you're at, basically, we're going to meet you where you're at. So if it's complicated, if you're already in a relationship, if you're married, wherever you are, these are going to resonate as a collective level somewhere for you. So let's go ahead and start diving on in. So feel free to send your energy through time and space, so that we can start really diving in and connecting these cards to your energy. Here we are already. All right, so we already are starting out with a hard ball. So we've got the 3 of Swords. Don't worry, it doesn't mean that your current relationship is going bad if you already feel like it's going really good, but it can talk about healing that is needed. So we'll look further into the current situation you're in. So here we are, group 2. We're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 2 for love-related messages, either platonically, romantically, wherever they are. We're going to meet you where you're at, group 2. So group 2 here. Ooh, here we are. So here we are with the star. Like I said, it really does feel like there is this healing element, because the star does showcase a need for, new guidance and heading in a new direction, as well as hope. So we're going to see what your final message is here, and we'll dive deeper. So here we are with the Seven of Swords. All right. Okay, so there's definitely a very clear message coming through here so far, but we're going to get more information before I dive into all of the messages here. So stay tuned for that. But here we go. Group two. We're looking for any romantic relationship messages here for group 2 or platonic, depending on what they're looking into here. But group two. What energy, insights, or guidance is coming in for you, group 2, in your love-related messages? Feel free to send your energy on in, and I will look into it. So group 2. What do we need to know here? Ooh, transformation. That is so on point for you guys. You also got truth here, which I'm going to also put out. As well as finding. So normally I don't take all 3 oracle messages, but they really felt strongly like correlating to you. So I went ahead and put all 3 down, but we're going to get one more message here from the Celtic Lenormand to round off your reading. See if there's more details that aren't already present here for group 2. So you also have here the songbirds, and within each of these Lenormand cards, they do have associations to a playing card, and that is the 7 of Pentacles or the 7 of Diamonds in a playing card. And then you also have the number 12 here that may resonate for each of you on a personal level. But that is where we are with the birds. Interesting too that there's 3 birds and then those 2 birds there. So we'll read into that as well, but I'm going to go ahead and get your final message here with the watercolor affirmations, but stay tuned later for the charm and letter cast so we can get more of the like nitty-gritty details. But here we are, group 2. We're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in here for love-related messages for group 2. What do they need to know for love advice at this time? All right, so you have here, ground yourself in love. You definitely have some love messages. It's very clear, very like on point here. So we're going to definitely dive in here. But like I said, stay tuned for the later reading as well. All right, so we cannot start this reading without first talking about both these 3 cards mostly. Either you are currently in a relationship where things are possibly going through kind of a shady point. And then also there just could be some hurt happening here within the communication in your relationship, and that it's not being very clearly communicated, that there's a lot of room for hurt or a lot of room for misinterpretation, lost in translation kind of energy, because you do have the birds, which talk about their song. Also, it can have like a mating call vibe to it. But what I really do see with the birds is they talk about communication at their core, and sometimes gossip, as well as not always seeing the truth in, like, because they like to chitter chatter, and so there can be gossip that happens within this. And so I think that for some of you, if you're in a relationship and you've been kind of doubting your partner or doubting what they've been up to, I'm not going to say that there aren't things happening. I'm not going to say that there are. I'm just going to say that because you do have this truth card, it is making me think that you need to find the truth, and that you're seeking that at this time, and that there seems to be quite a lot of hope and this like grounding back down and finding this information coming in, and that's maybe going to transform your perspective. So definitely look to make sure that there isn't anything shady happening behind the scenes within your relationship, or that anyone is trying to cause you harm through their words, especially if someone is trying to twist your mind. If you have a friendship that is, toxic, that is twisting your mind, or if you have parents that are changing your mind on this relationship, or within the relationship itself, if there's something going on, I think the best thing to do is to try to be as clear and concise with your communication, and to be as level-headed in the way that you come out with that asking, because when you're finding that information, if it's coming from a place of yelling or coming from a place that is of that hurt and not grounded, you're not going to be able to really find maybe what you're seeking. So that is like the things that are mostly coming up here. Is it does seem like there's this truth, there's this need for reflection, this need for being guided and finding a truth, but it does seem like by the the way that we have here this star card, it is kind of showcasing that what you are going to find, whether negative or positive, whatever it is, I couldn't really tell you. It's definitely different for each of you because of this being a collective reading, especially. It does seem like there's going to be hope at the end of the tunnel no matter what, right? There's going to be hope, transformation, cleansing, and feeling freer. I do feel like a freedom that comes from also this finding card, and that those birds and like flying away from this situation. Especially there's just so much like winged energy that's happening here with these butterflies and the birds and the birds. And even the bird here within the star card, and then being very, they're waiting and being patient. So making sure to be patient with your partner so that you can really find out what's going on, because maybe they are currently hiding something from you, not because they don't want to tell you something, but maybe they are currently going through a hurt or currently going through something that is very deep and personal for them, and they just need that space. So this really doesn't necessarily mean there's something like really bad happening in the background. I know a lot of you are going to be like going towards like something really intense, but just make sure that before you jump to conclusions, you kind of ground yourself back down into the relationship that you are in, grounding yourself back down to see who this kind of partner is and what their typical, actions are. And then find that where there's trust, or where that trust may have been broken, or whether or not you just need to trust them at this time because they're going through something. So it could definitely resonate different for each of you, but there is this need for a refresh within the relationship in some way because of this truth that is revealing itself, a transformation of sorts that's happening here, because of this finding that you found, this new information that's come forward. And make sure that the source is definitely from the person themselves in question, and not from the gossip or other people around you, because that is just going to spin a web even further and further down this hole. So definitely make sure it's grounded in the person that is already in question. And if that's yourself, if you're currently just going through something really difficult because of a past relationship, and it's just that you're finding and communicating with yourself and going through your own personal transformation based off your past relationships, that also could be coming through for some of you as well, and a need to confront it as well, for that transformation to come forward and for that hope for a new relationship to ever sort of bloom in a way that you can really have a fulfilling relationship come through. But with all of that said, group 2, I'm going to go ahead and pick up all of your cards here, and we'll come back to them in the recap at the end. But I do want to go ahead and move on to your charm casting and letter casting and see what comes in for messages. Maybe we can get like certain names, dates, and places from the letter tiles. So let's go ahead and start there. So group 2, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 2 here. What do they need to know, past, present, and future, in their relationships this time for love advice? Okay, so the first thing that I see is WAL here, which is making me think of like you've hit a wall. And so like I said, that's kind of what I was seeing already with your relationship, where it just feels like there's like this wall in communication. Things aren't very clear. Things have been kind of lost in translation through other people. These birds can, fly over this wall and just cheep at you, but you're not really getting information from the source themselves. You also do have WAL, A, G, V, E, T, H, and E. So we do have he here, which does kind of showcase a more masculine side, or someone who goes by the he, him pronouns. I also see like he, ha, ha, like a laughing of sorts, almost like, I kind of feel like for some of you, once this truth comes forward, you're going to laugh about it for a really long time. That's what I'm seeing and kind of feeling for you guys. Like, you're just going to start laughing about this one day because of how, like, caught in this web it could have been for you and why it even came about. So I do see a bit of lightness that's coming in. I also see gave, which is making me think of like a present or giving, some sort of giving of information, especially since you also have here like tell in a way. So I feel like there's like a giving of information, a exchanging of information that wasn't there before. Also, like gift giving and things like that may be related to what's going on within this specific instance for some of you. I also see with the let, if you switch it around, or the tell, and you switch it around, you get let, which is making me think like that give and take, but there's like you're letting it continue to just happen, like there's this cycle or something that's happening there. So that might be something to also be on your toes about or look into for that information to come through. And then I also see wave, which makes me think again like someone's waving or saying hello, or trying to communicate with you at some point, like they're trying to like wave in your face, trying to like do trying to get your attention in some way. So make sure that who's getting your attention in terms of what kind of information they are allowing you to see or giving. Make sure that it's coming from a very valuable or valued source, as well as one that is accurate. And then also wave is telling me too that you're going through a wave in your relationship as well, one that is you have your ups and downs, and I feel like you're going through like this big wave that's about to just come and crash, but then it's going to, like after every wave, right, you have that like settling of all those ripples. And so you may be going through the eye of it right now, but it's heading on down the moment that this truth can come out, and there's going to be that like ripple effect of just sort of, not even effect, but just that like settling of the water, as well as settling of emotions too, because water is very connected to the emotional side of us. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for you. We're going to go ahead and move on to your charms and see what other interesting little details we get with the bits and bobs in there. But let me know in the comments down below if you saw other things come in through these letters, or even with any of the different tools that I used today. I'm always curious to see what your intuition picks up, where your mind can follow, and what personal elements come in. So if you would like to, feel free to share down below. I'm always curious. But today we're going to go ahead and move on to your charms group 2. So group 2, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 2 here. What do we need to know for group 2? For love. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sort each of these out so we can see what's coming in. You have another V showing up here, so that V is coming through quite strong. You also have a couple of numbers showing up here, the 4 of Cups, and then also the 3 here. That doesn't actually have a color associated to it. But I'm going to sort these out so we can see what's happening here and look into more of these messages for you. But I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in so you can see what's going on here on the board, and that that you aren't lost and confused on what's going on. But here we are with all of your letters and your charms. So we're going to start here in your central ring. So like I said, you have the 4 of Cups, or the 4 in general, and 4 actually came out twice for you. So you also have 4 showing up here near G and A, which earlier I also thought of either Washington or Georgia or something like that was coming up here for states, maybe even places that have something to do with G, A, W, or A here may resonate for you. But we do have the 4 of Cups, which does showcase some sort of feeling kind of meh about the things that are coming into your life right now. You're being offered these different offerings, possibly giving a lot towards your partner right now, but there just may be this feeling of also boredom within the relationship that may be coming in too. So what also is coming up here too alongside that is the hacksaw here. And the hacksaw talks about not a clean cut. It's very like jagged. It's very like you're just going to cut and cut and cut, and it doesn't come out very clean and easy. So if you're trying to cut something out in your relationship right now, if you're trying to cut out cycles, if you're trying to cut out bad habits, or trying to cut out these ways of communication, it doesn't seem like it's going to be something that's very easy, especially if you don't take the opportunity to do so, like that Four of Cups is showing, and that stability that is needed within your relationship at this time, because there is a need for stability, because 4 does represent stable energy, feeling very clear, feeling very stable. You've got all 4 sides holding you up. So right now, until that truth comes forward, there is just like this loss of communication, this loss of trust, this loss of feeling like you're held up. Like the relationship just feels very kind of fragile at this time too, because you do have the delicate charm. Because the delicate charm showcases a relationship that is more delicate at this time. There is a need for strengthening your relationship in some way. And it's not because your relationship isn't passionate or there's a lot of love in it or anything like that, but the strength that you need comes a lot from the way that you communicate with another and how your passion comes through. So is it all, one-sided? Is it all, basically just trying to figure out where you are in your relationship and where these cracks are coming in and kind of springing up on you, because you also do have that spring energy, which is just like, it's like they sprung it up on you. You also have here the number 3, like I was talking about before, that may resonate to you guys either for 34 or 43, but 3s represent, like networking as well. So like I was thinking earlier, I do feel like there's a lot of people coming in and like waving at you and telling you what to do and how this isn't working, and you're getting a lot of messages from either the universe, from your friends, from your family, but you're not able to actually listen to the source like I was talking about before. And there could be a lot of gossip that comes through because you do have the fantasy charm of the like Cinderella carriage. So it's like this fantasy, and it's just not real. Whatever is coming through in those messages just aren't real. You are also getting the guidance charm of your angels or fae or other sort of winged spirit guides coming through here at this time. So listen to any messages that they may have coming through. But like I said, a lot of it's going to come from the source. So make sure that you're not also misconstruing their own messages that are being brought to you at this time. You also have the hibernating bear. So the bear, they attack when they are threatened or when they're going through a difficult situation. And based off that 3 of Swords, you really do maybe feel like you're being attacked by this new information that's coming through. But the thing is, you didn't get the bear where it's falling this side, where it's like you're very, very aggressive and like passionate and intense like that bear can be. This is the hibernating bear. This is like the Hanged One card or the Hanged Man card, where you are taking time to see a new perspective, especially since usually the Hanged One card has like this puddle that they're hanging above and you can see their reflection in it. So I feel like I said with that Truth card, I was really feeling that reflection, that needing to reflect on your relationship, reflect on where there may be these cracks that need healing and need guidance towards, especially since you had that Star card, that refresh that is needed. But to refresh something, that also comes with needing to create new boundaries, create new strengths within that relationship. And it seems as well that if things are feeling kind of stagnant in your relationship at this time, because you had that 4, that kind of stagnant energy, and then you also have the stagnant energy of the bear paw being the bear being very hibernating, it is temporary. You do have this temporary energy and persistence. So it's not like this relationship is just not needed. Unless your intuition is really telling you that, there's something there that needs to be evaluated. But if you are still rooting for this relationship, there does seem to be this need for persistence, this need to continue on, but it does need kind of revamped. There's a revamp that needs to happen with this TLC, this purity that's coming in too, on the refinement mood, which is refining things back down and putting them back down to their foundation, their core. So where at the foundation of your relationship, maybe are there still cracks that need, fixing, not because you're just gonna fix them up quickly with a band-aid, but because there's actual core beliefs or core things that happen within your relationship that need discussing. The last sort of message that we had, like I said, there was sort of a travel message. So if you were traveling, it sort of showcases here that travel plans are going to get a little like lost at this time. So be sure that there's nothing happening there in terms of travel plans with a partner, with someone that you are currently in a relationship with or out with this time, because it does seem like these travel plans are going to be delayed, especially since you have all that delay energy. So that may be something that where the truth kind of comes through, or that might be like the catalyst of things, because you do have the enthusiasm charm or the charm of like, I always feel like peppermint is like, you brush your teeth with peppermint, most of us. So it's like that cleansing feeling, that fresh, clean feeling. So I do think that where that settling of the waves, where that truth is coming through, where everything is just going to have that pinnacle moment, and then, things can like, breathe again. That I feel like might happen as a catalyst around travel plans or something having to do with travel or going out somewhere or happening out in public. I'm not sure, but that is definitely showing up here in multiple ways. But with all of that said, group 2, I hope you enjoyed this reading here with me today. Like I said, your relationship does definitely feel more on the it's complicated side. Be sure that you're grounding yourself in with your partner at this time to find this new information and transform this relationship, because that truth that's coming forward, it may just be because they needed time. It may be because they needed to retreat for themselves. There could be multiple reasons and multiple angles, and when those angles get misconstrued by gossiping people and, between spirit guides and other sorts of messages, things can get lost in translation. So to avoid hurt, or to at least wait for this truth to come forward in a at least truthful way, in an honest way for your relationship to kind of cleanse, you're going to need that truth to come forward from the source. So with all of that said, feel free to like the video if you did like it. It really does help these videos continue to come out and this channel continue to grow. Also, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the reading. I'm always curious. And lastly, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to have you join in, and such a warm welcome. And with all that said, so much love to you all. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this heart-shaped key, this little butterfly, as well as this heart in a tiger's eye, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set these down around your piles here today, or around your cards here today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations. We're also going to be using the Lion Strider Tarot, the Celtic Lenormand deck, and the Spellcasting Oracle. And we're also going to do a letter tile cast to see any names, dates, places, and oracle messages also coming through. So we have a lot we're going to dive into for love advice, for it's complicated readings, for readings that are even possibly more romantic or more platonic in some way, as well as anything under the sun, really. Wherever you're at, we're going to meet you there, especially since I'm going to invite you guys to send your energy in and through so we can see through time and space what's coming in for you. So group 3 here, we're looking for any love advice for group 3 and for this collective reading here today, as well as the individuals here watching. So group 3, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 3 here. Feel free to send your energy through. Group 3. What do we need to know for group 3? For energy, insights, and guidance coming through. Okay, what do we have here? So first up here, we have the 9 of Wands. So we're going to see what else is coming through here for you, group 3. We also have the Strength card. Let's see what else. Group 3, what do we need to know in energy, insights, or guidance coming in for you for any love-related messages? For wherever you are in your love life at this time, we're going to read into that. So group 3, what do we need to know? Ooh, you also have here the Ace of Pentacles. I'm also feeling this top card here as well. So you also have the Empress. So there we are, some nurturing energy coming in here, pretty strong. And then also like this more battle-y energy here as well. So there is sort of a juxtaposition on where you are in this relationship at this time, but we're going to get more information here with your spellcasting oracle message. So group three, we're looking for any information, energy, insights, or guidance coming through here for group 3. What do we need to know? I'm feeling like I need to move them this way. There we go. Okay. So let's see here. So you also got this card as well. So we have dreams and manifestation. Ooh, you are definitely more on the more magical, psychic side, even if you don't know it, but it's definitely coming through here. So we're going to see your next message here with the Celtic Lenormand before we go into all of that. But group 3, what do we need to know for group 3 in terms of their love life and relationships at this time? Said it right at love too. So you have here the tree. So you have like the very big grand oak tree. And with these Lenormand cards, they also have a playing card association. And this one is the 7 of Hearts or the 7 of Cups in this situation, as well as the number 5. So this may resonate for each of you based off the numbers or the type of card. However it resonates, feel free to kind of look and dive deeper into that. But we're going to go ahead and do your watercolor affirmation for your final message here before I do the charm and letter casting. So stay tuned for that. But let's see what's left here for you, group 3. Group 3, we're looking for relationship-related messages, love-related messages. Here it is. So this one got like entirely stuck on my fingers, and you have here, harvest your blessings. This is about gratitude and harvesting your blessings within the day. All right, so let's go ahead and start diving in. Like I said, you really do have this energy that is kind of like juxtaposition, right? Like I feel like some of you aren't ready for a relationship and some of you are like teetering on this edge. And there's sort of things that are holding you back at this time, because I do feel like you are a very headstrong person. Like I feel like you know your strengths, you know what you're doing really well in a relationship. And if you aren't currently in a relationship right now, I feel like that's really what I'm getting here, is a lot of you possibly aren't in a relationship right now or at the very beginning of one, because you do have that Ace of Pentacles, the very beginning nurturing energy of like those first little moments of a relationship budding and growing. But I do see a lot of strength. I feel like you have a lot of wonderful strengths in this relationship to grow, or in knowing innately in yourself that you are a very strong person. But on the flip side, with that strength, it does come with borders too, and needing boundaries as well. So I think you are already a person who knows what your boundaries are in a relationship, know what you can handle and what you can't handle. But this also can cut you off too if you're looking for a specific person, or you're very like well researched in what you want out of a relationship, and there's nothing wrong with waiting for what you want. But if you do feel like it's just been like there's just been people coasting by, and you're ready to just jump in head feet into something, it may be that you need to evaluate what is most important in those boundaries and most important in those characteristics that you look for in a person, and finding which ones are most important to you and which ones you could, lax on possibly a little bit too, because you may just be feeling a little too strong into the relationship, or that there's just like this power dynamic to that when you go into the relationship. It just may be that there's like this like too much of a need for independence. So that's just something to be aware of if you're heading into a relationship. But the other thing too is you do have the health card, and with that 9 of Wands and strength too, it does tell me that you are, or the tree in general tells me that you are growing into like your physicality in terms of strength and making that a strength for you, or growing, like learning how to best present yourself in whatever way seems fit for you, where you feel most confident and strong in your presence, right? Like that lion, like they're very strong in their presence. And I think you want to come to the table feeling very strong in that way, like feeling very like wise and sure of yourself, right? That's what I'm really getting. Like you're very sure of who you are and and what you want. And that's going to grow a very healthy relationship because of those needs and wants. The other thing too, though, you do have, like I said, that Empress, and which also has the Tiger, which is giving me again like more of that strength card. And your strength is that you can nurture a relationship, that there is a relationship that you're ready to nurture and you're ready to begin. Like there's an opportunity there, even if you weren't feeling ready. If you are one of those people here that I was mentioning earlier, where you're feeling possibly defensive or not ready for a relationship, or you were just you're waiting it out but you're not sure when it's coming, this Ace of Pentacles is giving me like you know, of new foundation in a relationship to grow, and not necessarily one that is going to just be like super flouncy and like, oh my gosh, I'm just head over heels in love with this person. But it's going to be a more slow growth in that relationship to grow. It's going to be more budding. It's going to be one you have to kind of wait for, and it's going to be more strong in that foundation because of it. Because this relationship isn't grown only by chemistry or only by passion and like this intense, passionate energy. It might even be like that a friendship or something that someone you already knew really well is coming in, and it's already has that strength of, you know, past knowledge with someone. So maybe someone you already knew or someone you're already very close with, that this budding is changing in terms of your feelings. And that maybe is why like there's this wall here too, because maybe it was like a friendship kind of moment where things are starting to turn and tilt. So that might be resonating for some of you as well. And especially on a more magical side too, definitely look into your intuition, because the Empress does talk about your intuition, your calling, your inner gut feeling. Like, what are you feeling in your gut about this relationship that may be manifesting? Because you possibly have been doing some manifestation work, trying to use law of attraction, trying to manifest using magic or other spiritual ways of manifesting someone into your life. And I do feel like this is like kind of like showcasing to me that if you're going to be looking for answers or calling towards that manifestation that you possibly sent out to the universe, you do have the Dream card, which there's a lot to look into and unpack in this card. These cards are absolutely stunning, but there is this beautiful image of, right, like a window, like you're finally getting like a look into what this relationship may look like. And it's also telling you to dream and allow yourself to fantasize on what a relationship could be for you, especially if you've been holding yourself back. So at this time, if you feel like you've just been holding yourself back and you want a relationship, but you're not really sure where to go with that, definitely look into your dreams for a subconscious level and those answers that may lie within. But also, the dreams card is just telling me like that fantasy, playful energy, and making sure that you let some of those walls down. Like I was saying, you may just have like this really long list of like all these things that you want in a person, but maybe it's just time to be more playful or more casual with it and see what comes up there. The last card here you have is that Harvest Your Blessings. So especially if you've had past relationships, you may be learning from the blessings of those relationships and how you're going to move and navigate the world at this time, especially with the pandemic and everything, and navigate where you're going to go with it and how you're going to go into it. But also in general, this is just a great reminder to be grateful for what you have and where you're at this time, especially if you're trying to manifest something in. If you are not feeling grateful for what you already have, then that's hard, or it's harder for you to manifest something forward without really good intent, and intent that comes from a grateful place as well, and without expectation on what the end result will look like. But with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to your letter tiles here, group 3. You had a very interesting pile so far, and I'm really interested to see what, like, especially with this dreams, like maybe you have like dreamscapes that are coming in where you have like a really good intuition on your subconscious level. So definitely look into what kind of abilities you may have there with dream work. Because I feel like there might be some messages coming in there that are going to be very personal and potent to you. So definitely look into your dreamscapes. They can really tell us a lot about our subconscious and where we're at and where we're wanting to go, especially when you put intention before you sleep. But I'm waffling on. Let's go ahead and move on to your letter tiles here for love and relationship advice here. Any energy, insights, or guidance coming in for group 3 here for love and relationships. Group 3. So the first letters that came up here are I, S, A, and D. And the first thing I thought was either dad or dance. So I don't know if some of you are actually getting married soon or something like that. There's like a daddy-daughter dance kind of moment that came through. But that felt very specific to a certain few of you. We also have I, E, V, Z, and G. Okay. So the first thing that I saw here was dive, that I feel like you guys are diving in, right? Like I told you earlier, I feel like you guys are diving in and and it's at least important for you to dive into a relationship with no expectations, or if you have expectations, that those grow with the relationship as well. Like giving someone a chance as well is coming in here, like giving someone the chance to also grow, because like this tree, everybody has these little cracks and these moments where we are not our perfect wonderful selves, and especially in the world that we live in right now, we're not all like, we're going through a lot. So there's definitely like some room for knocking down some of these barriers that you're possibly growing at this time, against love or against relationships, or even if you're with someone currently right now, it's just kind of letting yourself dive back into that relationship if you feel like, especially if it's long distance, finding ways to communicate with them and dive with them in some way to keep things going, because there is definitely like this border that's happening here, whether purposefully or not, and it's just kind of diving around those or finding ways to knock some of those down when those boundaries aren't needed, when maybe they are coping mechanisms or ones that are just habits that aren't really efficient or working for us anymore. But I also see here save. So this is like that gratefulness gratefulness card that harvest your blessings. So you're saving those beautiful moments that are coming in too, especially since this is like a new relationship possibly budding in, or that there's this refresh to the relationship you are currently in. Like things are just refreshing. You're growing a new foundation atop the foundation you've already grown. I do see that it's like you're saving and really savoring these moments, and that's really beautiful to see. And then I also see dizzy. I know it doesn't actually say dizzy, but like it's making me feel like there's like this spinning sensation of feeling very like dizzy and like that budding love feeling where you're just like head over heels for someone, so dizzy and in love, and it's so intoxicating. So especially if a relationship at this time has been feeling really boarded off and you haven't been able to be really really deeply connected with someone, I do think that sensation is going to come in, especially if you allow yourself to manifest it forward, right? Like you can't just wait for those moments to happen. Sometimes you have to plan a date or plan some really beautiful romantic thing, or plan something that can cause you guys to collide in that way again, which is really beautiful to see as well. But with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on to your charms group 3. I'm really enjoying seeing what kind of energy you have coming in with your pile, but feel free to let me know in the comments down below how this is resonating, and if you use your own intuition, or if you've used your own intuition to see other words that came forward, or other names or dates or places. I'm always curious within not only the letter tiles but also the charms and cards. But let's go ahead and do your charm cast here, group 3. So group 3, what do we need to know for group 3 in terms of their insights and guidance and advice for love and relationships at this time? Group 3, what do we need to know? Okay, so I give you guys quite a few here. So I may not get the chance to hit every single one, but I'm definitely going to try to see all of the different ones that do come forward here. You do have a chakra message, so that's interesting already. Let's see here. Okay, So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in so you can see everything alongside with me and you're not missing out on anything. Don't worry, there's nothing missing here at the bottom at this full moon, but you do have here in your inner ring, I was going to say inter ring, but your inner ring here, the heart of the reading, a chakra message, and this is the crown chakra, the chakra just above your head or right at your head. It's like a crown atop your head, and it is a more spiritual message usually that comes through with these. So I'm going to take out my Chakra Love Oracle here and see which cards come through for the crown chakra for you. Alright, so here are all the ones attributed to or correlating with the crown chakra. So let's see what messages come here on a more spiritual oneness kind of level here for you, connective level to that higher spiritual side of us. See what's coming in here for you. So group three, what do we need to know? What came in with this charm that we need to know for group 3 at this time? So you had 2 here. So you had both divinity and calmness, and with each of these cards, they do showcase a different crystal on the back. So for calmness, we have here rainbow moonstone, and then for the top one with divinity, it is blue lace agate. So that is what each of them sort of look like here. But divinity, it says recognize the divine in the mirror. And then calmness, to calm your monkey mind, do not feed the animal. So like I was saying earlier, I feel like some of you are you have like this idea in your mind, right? Like that monkey mind, that trying to feed it with this fantasy or this idea, or romanticizing an idea, or even just putting a lot of like boundaries in your way of what you want out of a relationship, and allowing yourself to see what comes through instead, because you do have the flow. It is both a worry charm, so this can be that you're worrying about getting into a relationship, but on top of that, it is like the water flow charm. So it makes me think that it's time to calm and flow and let things flow in terms of your mind space, especially since the crown chakra talks about the very top, the mind space. You also have the letters G and N showing up here. So again, another G. So definitely a highlight there on G, which is coming up here right next to the unicorn. So this can be, especially in a love reading, something to do with more of a sexuality message, or something to do with finding your sexuality or having to do with your sexuality, possibly with the letter G. And then it could also represent a person. But the other thing too here with this specific unicorn charm is it can be unicorn messages coming in here with the letter G, especially if you work with unicorns in your spiritual practice, since we do have that divinity, recognizing the divinity or divine in the mirror. And it's about recognizing that very unique part of yourself too. Where are you different? Where are you unique? And what do you bring to the table to a relationship that other people don't, that is actually going to make someone just like really attracted to you and very like infatuated with you? So where does that come in for you, and where can that be your strength versus a weakness? And something that can be very well recognized by other people. And like I was saying, you're growing a more stable relationship. It isn't one that's just like head over heels, like falling in love, like this fantasy, beautiful stage. It is something that, like I said, already kind of has a solid foundation, or when it grows, it's going to bud on a slower level, but it's going to be a slow burn in like a really good way, because you do have the Clada charm, and it has the heart and the hands. So this represents loyalty, friendship, and love. So like I said, it's not just like a passionate chemistry kind of relationship that's happening here, but one that is, they've got your heart in your hands kind of thing, where you really trust. There's a lot of trust, a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of union, a lot of commitment towards each other, which is really beautiful to see. There also is a silver lining here. So the silver lining can be that you are letting down your guard or letting things flow. Especially, like I said, there may have been darker moments that happened in the past with this 9 of Wands that's coming through in a past relationship. So these old cycles that just aren't really working for you anymore. So how you maybe navigated dates before isn't going to work for you anymore. Or how you navigated your relationship previously, especially if this is like you're already in a relationship and there's like a need for a new layer of a foundation. Breaking what just isn't working anymore, and then putting new bricks down for something that is better for you. So maybe that's because you need new boundaries, or restructuring as well is coming through quite strongly. But like I said, I feel like a lot of you are just beginning a relationship because you also have the fall in love charm. It doesn't say fall in love anymore, but this used to say fall in love here at the top. So it's feeling like clipped into love. You're falling right head over heels for someone, or you're falling into love. And falling into love isn't just getting into a relationship, it's allowing yourself to fall, allowing yourself to have that flow, and allowing yourself to kind of bring down some of your guards so that you can enjoy this relationship with someone else, because you do have a union feeling with the Gemini, because it could be that it is with a Gemini that's coming through, or you may be a Gemini in your sun, moon, and rising sign. But the other thing about Gemini too is it does also showcase kind of a partnership feel, because there is the two, or that feeling of like split souls or something like that on that level too, on a more spiritual level, depending on what that means for you. If that's soulmates, twin flame, past lives, or something there just may be a little bit of nugget that you could look into, especially within your dreamscapes, because you do have a lot of dreamy energy happening here as well. But with all of that said, group 3, I really enjoyed reading here for you. Definitely let your boundaries kind of find where they need to be, those different 9 of 1 energy, where you need to let things go, where you need to still have those boundaries up. Listen to your dreamscape, see what comes in through your intuition and spiritual side, as that's coming in quite strongly. And then also letting your strength shine through as you start this new relationship, because you're growing a very strong relationship, one a very committed and loving one, and one that's going to really last for a really long time. So it's so wholesome for your pile. I'm really excited for you guys. Feel free to let me know in the comments down below how this resonates for you, especially if you're in a relationship, how maybe it resonated as well for you on a specific level. I'm always curious, and I read every single one of my comments, so thank you to anyone who's commented. Also, feel free to like this video if you did like it. I really do appreciate it as it continues to let this channel grow and thrive. So thank you so much for that. And lastly, before I run out of breath and my camera dies, I want to say welcome to anyone who is new to the channel. It's wonderful to have you here. Feel free to subscribe if you're interested in weekly, monthly, or timeless videos. And thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.